Hey, this is the Nature Boy Ric Flair. And believe it or not, whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it because you have to listen to Wrestling is Real. It is the best thing going today. Woo!
Celebrating 9 years of podcast excellence, the King of Podcasts Radio Network proudly presents the Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us. Here we go, episode 727 of the Wrestling is Real podcast. This is KOP. Thanks for listening in and catching the show as you always do. Subscribing to the show. If you're watching on video, it's all at wrestlingisreal.com. Wrestlingisreal.com. And remember, if you want to go ahead and subscribe to the show, all the links to wherever you can find it, Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, it's all there for you. Plus, everywhere you can follow yours truly. I have all the different accounts at King of Podcasts. And I'd love for you to go ahead and follow along as the show goes along. We got news headlines on the website too. So much more. Wrestlingisreal.com. It's one of those weeks where I'm just kind of making sure to promote, right? Things like that. Now, we had a good weekend. Coming off of Extreme Rules, coming off of Bound for Glory, a pretty eventful wrestling weekend. We have Raw and Dynamite that came about this week, and NXT we could talk about. So there's a lot there. I don't know how far I'm going to go. Maybe we'll go half an hour. We'll figure it out. But either which way, where I'm looking at things now with the landscape of, has there been any changes so far to where I feel like Triple H and the folks at WWE have continued to make the right moves to move things forward? To say, okay, maybe we're going to get somewhere with some people that are trying to get up to that main event. That we're going to have some storylines with a little more oomph to them. Because you have to ask yourself, what were some of the people that were going to come back that can make a real big difference, storyline-wise, to build things up for Raw and SmackDown and for pay-per-view? So Extreme Rules did a pretty good job. I did a post show for that. We talked pretty extensively about the return of Bray Wyatt and how that came about. We'll know he's coming on SmackDown, so by the time you listen to this, SmackDown will have happened, and you'll have caught his appearance. And I'll talk about that next week. Other than that, they're doing pretty good. Listen, seeing the Good Brothers, I'll still call them Good Brothers, now OC reunited. That's nice to see them go up against Judgment Day. Now we have that. Now the Edge is out of the picture, which is nice. Like, okay, we're getting some things done here. There's some storylines that have been built to other storylines, so we're getting somewhere. Like, there is some evolution, some development, and certain things keep going interdimensional. So, like when Judgment Day is not only feuding against Edge, they're also feuding against Rey Mysterio to bring in Dominic, and then AJ Styles to try to recruit him, but now they're going to get held off by the OC. Well, this is all good stuff. It's building itself. Now, there are some things that might not pan out so well. I'm thinking about Johnny Gargano. I'm thinking about Candice LeRae. I'm wondering about Legado del Fantasma. Like, what kind of impact do some of these NXT stalwarts that were very popular on the black and gold side, are they going to really pan out on the main roster? Can they really stand out and be something? Listen, we know if it was under Vince, it would crash and burn. But can Triple H really bring some of these stars over the top? Because you just can't let them be NXT and they still have the feel of indie on them. They have to feel epic. They still have to feel like they have that stigma of WWE in front of them. And crowds need to pop for these people. But if Gargano's not getting much of a pop and he's coming out with other people coming out to the ring, and Candice LeRae going out by herself and her music is just loud and you can't really hear if the crowd's really cheering for her or not, if they're really behind her or not. When you think about it, there's plenty of other girls that they will go ahead and cheer for the crowd on a regular basis. These are the kind of things I'm all concerned about. But like I said, Bray Wyatt coming back could very well be main eventer. Now, one of the things they put up on Twitter today on the WWE Twitter channel, they actually put up Bray Wyatt's world title win at Elimination Chamber. And Mauro Ranallo calling the match as Bray Wyatt was able to get the pin on AJ Styles for the win. his world title, the peak of his career, the peak of the popularity of Bray Wyatt. And that's after the family kind of split off. And he was just there, and hey, man, people were still into him. And he was kind of like losing a little bit of favor, but this kind of elevated him back up. But then things changed. He dropped the belt, and it was all done. And of course, he never got booked to the world title in terms of winning anything, because he always constantly lost matches. That's just the way it was. And so the thought of trios against trios, there's a lot of that going on, where Judgment Day and the OC are now in a feud. Imperium and Brawling Brute's a very similar feud. There's some similarities, some formulas that are being used right now of what they have. Legado del Fantasma will also be a part of this very soon. And part of that NXT Black and Gold splendor that was around, that they have and they're able to bring back, they're seeing it now. And look, there might be other people that will come across that might get picked up. Andrade could be one. They could try to bring him back. And by the way, I like when Legado del Fantasma debuted on the main roster to see that Zelina Vega is going to be the manager on this side. That she gets to be an important role again, and not the Queen Zelina that she was for a while. That didn't matter. We didn't care. She's now on something that's significant, and I think Zelina Vega as the mouthpiece here for the rest of that family. Look, okay, we're missing Elektra Lopez, right? Well, I'm sorry, I don't think Elektra Lopez is going to have the same kind of appeal like a Zelina Vega. But let's see. There was word about her status. And the word was that Dave Meltzer says that officials changed their minds about the call-up with her. But nobody knows what's going to happen to her yet. We know that part. And she wasn't going to be brought up because of the fact that Zelina Vega would be the better piece. And as far as I know, there were certain people that were questioning about Elektra Lopez, but yeah. If you had to choose, I would take Zelina Vega over. And that's what happened. So the group has been around for over 2 years, and now we're at this point. And to me, it kind of works out. So we'll find out where they're going to go with who they're going to feud. It's another trio. Now the talk is, they're going to do what Tony Khan did and build trios championships. Is that what we're going to get next? I don't think it matters, but everything's going to feel the way they're going to feel. It's just what happens. Now let's go ahead and go into where we are. We have to wait for Cody to come back. Seth Rollins takes another loss to Matt Riddle, but Matt Riddle's now being still built up. Logan Paul's the latest casualty to come at Crown Jewel up against Roman Reigns. And everybody keeps talking about that. For the time being, especially until The Rock at WrestleMania, Roman Reigns is going to be fed opponents that he will smash. Braun Strowman will be one. Maybe Riddle again. Maybe McIntyre, Karrion Kross at some point. That's probably what they're going to do. They're going to build the next opponent of the month that Roman Reigns will smash. And that's what he's going to continue to do until WrestleMania. And they'll work and stretch that out whatever they can, because the bloodline is the reason people are watching. Listen, I put that on the last week's episode, and it blew up. People were all into what I was talking about. The bloodline is the barrier. It's the level that and remember, anybody that gets to be attached to that bloodline storyline is getting over. Huge. You're seeing that now. Even with the bloodline coming out Monday night, and even on Friday night, when you're looking at Roman Reigns, the Usos, Solo Sikoa, and Paul Heyman, and the fact that Sami Zayn has been intertwined in this storyline as a goof, now he's an honorary Us. He is so over, more than he has ever been in his career, as a bit of a comedy relief for this important, serious bloodline, the Samoan family bloodline, and he fits in here like a circle in a square peg. But he is so damn over. And of course, we know he works really well in the ring. Sami Zayn's getting elevated as a result here. And the fact that he can put him out there with Solo Sikoa or do the whole storyline with Jey Uso and his hothead and Sami Zayn being in charge of controlling Jey Uso, like that, the whole storyline. You got arc of storyline between storyline. And it's incredible. Solo Sikoa having to make him, something of himself, prove himself constantly. The Usos and a little bit of their backtracking where, Jey Uso is being the hothead and things are going on with that, right? And then you're dealing with you're also dealing with that anybody that gets to be in the ring with those stars, they're not going to matter unless they're on the right side of the storyline. I mean, Logan Paul has no chance right now at all. You do realize that. Okay, it doesn't matter if Drew McIntyre's out there, if it's going to be Karrion Kross, there will be nothing right now. There is no star in WWE right now. You have to ask yourself the question, who could you have that could build up to the level of the bloodline? Because that's the end all be all. Everyone that's in WWE right now needs to be a main eventer at the level of the bloodline. That's where you are now. It has to be. That's what people expect. So in the meantime, they can continue to go and build their mid-card that will help to, take away what's also going to be going on, right? You want to just see what happens. And we're just waiting to see if things will come up. Because what we need is another main event storyline, or at least 2 or 3. Remember, for WrestleMania, you need 4. Who's that going to be? Can Seth be involved in that? Will Cody be involved in it? We know the Randy Orton's not coming back. We're not getting any part-timers who are going to help build that up either. Of course, you'll have some women that'll have storylines that'll come up. We don't know what Ronda Rousey's going to be doing by WrestleMania time. It's these kind of things that I keep thinking about and I ponder. And I want to consider because this is what Triple H needs to be working on. This is what Rob Fee needs to be working on a regular basis. And hopefully they are. In the meantime, we look at what they did for Monday Night Raw. Okay? Post-show for Extreme Rules, the Aftermath, did very well. Rounded up 2.2 million viewers. That's 1.8 million viewers, excuse me. So it did get a jump because of Bray Wyatt's return on Saturday night. Looks like that got a lot of good praise. People were really into it, very viral. So people were talking about that. D-Generation X kind of sandwiched in, start of the night and the end of the night. Matt Riddle interrupting the bloodline. You have that. Gargano and Theory having their match. And at the moment, Gargano beating Theory. So they're having this little TV feud based on what they were going on in the Way storyline back in NXT. So they're just kind of playing that out. They know that people are not taking this very seriously. And because the also thing is, it's really insignificant. It's just the TV feud. Because Austin Theory still has that Money in the Bank briefcase. What are they going to do with him? He's still something to be matter. But at this point, no one's really thinking about him. He's not tried to cash in. There's only one person to cash in on is Roman Reigns. So something has to happen with that briefcase. What are you going to do? We know that Rey Mysterio and Chad Gable had their thing. Judgment Day attacking. Dominic attacking Rey, making that somewhat significant. Continuing the heat that Judgment Day had. And because of the heat that Judgment Day had so much, you had AJ Styles being drawn back out because of the continued push for recruitment. And then all of a sudden, the OC comes out to accompany AJ Styles, and they're all in the ring face to face. Bayley now on a losing streak, and she loses to Candice LeRae. I don't like that move. I don't know why LeRae's getting a winning streak here, but they let her beat Bayley. I don't think that was right. It's a little bit mind-boggling to me. Like, is Bayley going to be going back up against Bianca Belair, or are we going to just drop that? Like, who's the next opponent for Bianca? Figure that out. They did the celebration for The Miz, his birthday, and then Dexter Lumis. Okay. These kind of storylines are going to happen. This is for TV, whatever it is, as long as it's not on pay-per-view. And now we get down the line, we'll have Omos and Braun Strowman going after each other at Crown Jewel, most likely. And they already faced each other as a teaser on SmackDown. But then we get something newsworthy or noteworthy. First of all, Brock Lesnar attacking Bobby Lashley. Now, this is a possible main event storyline. This is something that we got to figure out. Okay, the story is easy to tell. Both with an MMA background. Lashley and Lesnar. As far as I'm concerned, I know that Lashley did lose to Lesnar in one match, and now this is the rubber match. And the title no longer is required. Because you can tell a great story with these two and their wrestling backgrounds. There's so much to be said about both of them. And then the fact that they never really faced each other in a long feud, let's have that now. If we're getting Lesnar and Lashley, this is what we wanted to have. Even Lashley said himself, he wanted to have this happen long before, remember? So, let's make that happen. Can we? I would love that. And these are the kind of things that I think about. I want to see this flourish into a long feud. I hope that's what they're going to be doing. I really do. In the meantime, Seth Rollins takes advantage, much like he did in previous times. Seth Rollins now is the U.S. champion. Wow. I didn't expect that to happen, but Seth Rollins does deserve to be a title holder. Like, he's been that point. And for the most part, Seth Rollins holding that title and defending it on a regular basis on Raw will help. So that was a big thing that happened. But Seth Rollins holding this U.S. title needs to be the precursor for him. Go after the world title. The Undisputed. We have to see that happening coming up. I don't know how they're going to do that. But this is the thing we have. Like, what's going to happen with Theory in this briefcase? Are we definitely going to go sending out potential losers to Roman Reigns all the way through? Is that what we're going to do as well? I don't know. I guess they're going to do that. What else are they going to care about? And that's where I come across and I'm like, I don't like it this way, but what are you going to do? There's no choice. So we're not going to be able to expect anything in terms of main event changes until WrestleMania. But the thought process where they have to continue to go ahead and have people lose in order to be enhanced, to be elevated. See, the problem that I have here with Roman Reigns is not because of his status. It's the fact that there is not one star that Roman Reigns has taken on. As far as I'm concerned, no one is elevated as a result. I don't think anybody has really benefited by having that match with Roman Reigns and being elevated as a result. Because that's the way that Roman Reigns has been booked. And there's no one at his level. And the fact that we're not seeing stars that are just being built up on winning streaks to the point that they're going to become this formidable opponent that will ultimately beat Roman Reigns and take the title. And there's still no answer about if they're going to get split up. Nothing. Because that's going to be the key that picks the lock. If the company can come up with such a good, logical, qualified solution, that's going to be what they do. Untangling the web that Vince left behind. This is the one they left which is the biggest one. It's the Rubik's Cube. Who's going to be the one that's going to be able to go ahead and take the Rubik's Cube and match it all up? It's going to be very difficult. And I will continue to talk about this because it just sits there for the longest time. I want to talk a little bit about Dynamite this week, which was very good. By the way, ratings were good, like I said, across the board. 720,000 viewers for NXT, which had a number of people coming in. Sonya Deville coming in and taking part in the show, right? And we still have a lot of the NXT UK stars still there. Well, Ilya Dragunov and things like that are really being pushed up. And knowing that we are getting a setup for Halloween Havoc coming up. And where things are going to be going with that coming up. So out of what we're going on with NXT, they made a big deal with Braun Breaker, sandwiching him in that show. Making Idris Enofe and Malik Blade something the matter as potential tag team contenders for the titles. And Sonya Deville, who might be adding some toxicity to the Toxic Attraction. The continuing of adding some stars to the main roster over when it came to Apollo Crews. Now we got Sonya Deville. And the plan is to continue to do that. So the NXT crossovers they're going to be doing now, they're going to see what it does. Because I want to continue to build the ratings on that show. And they need to do the thing where certain veterans work with the younger stars. That has to happen as well. It's all going to work itself out. As one story I'm reading from Cage Side Seats, they talk about that as well. So they got that all set up. We'll see where they're going to go with it. And so they have set things up now for Halloween Havoc for NXT. We'll talk about that real quick. At the moment, the matches that are scheduled, it's Braun Breaker against Ilya Dragunov, JD McDonough for the NXT title. Ladder match for the NXT North American title, it's Carmelo Hayes, Oro Mensah, Wesley Von Wagner, and the winner of the final match between Axiom and Nathan Frazier. Weapons Wild match, Roxanne Perez versus Cora Jade. Ambulance match, Julius Creed versus Damon Kemp. If Julius Creed loses, Brutus Creed must leave NXT, and then Grayson Waller and Apollo Crews, which they've been building up for a long time. As for Dynamite tonight, to continue to have Jericho with his positioning of the Ring of Honor World title, they use that because of the fact he's holding a title and is in Toronto tonight. They decided to put that match together and make that a big title feud that they had going on tonight. The third match with him and Danielson, of which Jericho would win again. But the storyline will continue where Daniel Garcia bashes Danielson post-match to show his loyalty to the Jericho Appreciation Society. Orange Cassidy, now the AEW All-Atlantic Champion, and a great match with Pac. And I did enjoy Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, the way they set up that. Luchasaurus does get the win, though. And I think one of the things they did with Dynamite, too, is there were a number of stars you wanted to make sure you could see appearing at the show. And look, some people are not going to feel the fact that, like, why is FTR going over on Rampage and not Dynamite? Things like that. Like, did Swerve Strickland and Billy Gunn need to be on Dynamite? Could it have been on Rampage? People complain about that, too. They all do. Jon Moxley with a great promo leading up to the world title match in Cincinnati against Hangman Adam Page. That was great. MJF continued to rock everything and holding the chip over everybody, watching throughout. And you're just seeing it going on and going on and going on. Great stuff. And the show went really quick. I really liked all that going on. There's not much I got else to say tonight. It's going to be going short because there is so much I talked about this weekend. I did 30 minutes on Extreme Rules, and I did another 30 minutes on Bound for Glory. The post shows are up, WrestlingIsReal.com. Find them along with this show. I'm going to just close it out tonight. Short. I got everything I wanted to say. So we'll come back next week, and we'll look at things that are going to be pinning out towards Crown Jewel, what Halloween Havoc looks like, and we'll just kind of roll with the punches. We're back next week with another Wrestling is Real podcast because wrestling needs us. Thank you for listening to the Wrestling is Real podcast. You can find all previous episodes at wrestlingisreal.com or subscribe to the show on all major podcast outlets, including Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Follow the King of Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at King of Podcasts, and search King of Podcasts on YouTube, or type youtube.com/JBRASCO951. This has been a presentation of the King of Podcasts Radio Network.